Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing some things to consider before starting a home daycare. So let's get right into it. So the very first thing to consider is that there are going to be startup costs before you can receive your daycare license. You're going to have to take a certain amount of hours depending on your state, maybe between 15 and 30 hours of training, so things like CPR and first aid. And the state may also ask for you to make some renovations to your house. So for example, if you do not have rails going down stairs that are leading outside, they may ask you to build rails or put rails in place to keep the children safe. Or if you have a pool or any bodies of water, they may ask for you to build a fence or a barrier around that pool. You're also going to have to pay for things like a first aid kit, a fire extinguisher, gates to keep the children from going either upstairs or downstairs or into any spots that you don't want the children to be in. And then you're also going to have to buy furniture, toys, books, and activities for the children. The second thing to consider is the amount of time that it would take for you to open up a daycare. It's not an instant thing to receive your license to run and operate a daycare out of your home. You'll have to fill out an entire application packet, hand in background checks, do your trainings. You're also going to need to make sure that you pass your final inspection. You'll also want to have a policy and handbook in place. And if you guys are interested in how to write a policy handbook, you guys can check out my video, How to Write a Policy Handbook, over on my channel. And then you're also going to have to find families and children to sign up for your daycare program. And that can also take some time too, especially in the beginning stages, because parents are a little bit hesitant to sign their child up for a program where there are no other children. So all in all, it can take a few months. I would say anywhere between 2 and 6 months to get your program up and running. Another thing to think about is how much space you're willing to give up in your home. So for example, maybe you have an open layout and you have your kitchen overlooking your living room, and maybe that's the entire space that you're going to use. Or maybe you're going to want to use your kitchen, your living room, and your dining room. It's up to you how much space you want to give up, and also the square footage that you're giving up in your home can depend on how many children you're going to be allowed to have in your program. So if you're thinking of going group family, which means you can have double the amount of children, the state may require for you to give up a little more space. So it's going to depend on what you're comfortable with, how many children you think you're going to be able to care for, and also if you're willing to give up certain areas in your home and, let's say, go without a living room or a dining room. Now, with that being said, it's also important to consider if you're going to be sharing house space with other members in your family. The other members in your family can be affected by your home daycare and vice versa. So for example, if you're sharing the kitchen or a bathroom with your husband or with your children, if they leave things like razors out or scissors or knives out on the counters or in direct reach of the children, and the state were to pop over and you don't know that your husband was cutting something in the kitchen and he left scissors out, that can ultimately put you out of compliance and you can get a violation for that. And it can also just be overwhelming and tight sharing your home with other members in your family. And with all the children and families coming in and out of your home, there is going to be wear and tear on your home. So if you have carpets, those things can get dirty. There can be spills. Maybe people are walking in with their shoes. Things like your walls, you will notice, will have marks on them, so you'll have to maintain repainting them, or maybe using things like a Mr. Clean eraser to take stains off. If you're using your children's toys or kitchenette sets or bassinets or pack and plays, over time those things can get really worn down from being used so much every day by different children. Another very important thing to consider when you're starting a program directly from your home is the liability and the responsibility that comes with taking care of children. Accidents can happen in a split second, so it's really important that you go out and you get insurance for protection. And once again, insurance is going to cost some money Maybe you'll pay between $30 to $75 a month, but it's so worth it to have to protect your home and your business. Under the liability and responsibility, it's important to note that safety is always a #1 priority when you're working with children and families. You always have to keep your eyes and ears on the children at all times. Also, knowing your state's regulations is very, very important. The regulations were set in place to not only protect and keep the children safe in your program, but also for educators and caregivers to provide quality care to the families that we're serving. The state can stop by during any of your program hours, so it's always important to know your regulations, know what's expected of you, and to be providing that quality care for every single child that you're serving. Another thing to consider is that as childcare providers, we do tend to work long hours, and it can definitely wear on you. So something that I've been pretty strict with in my program is that I run and operate from 7:30 to 5:30. And right there, that's a 10-hour day. It's a 50-hour week. And there are also parents who will come in and they're looking for 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So it depends on what you're comfortable working, but it can be hard when you first begin and your first opening and you have an interview with the family, you really love them, but they're looking for hours that conflict with what you're looking to work. You'll also want to consider how you're going to fill up those spots and get interviews with families. I do have a video over on my channel giving you guys some tips on how you can get families into your home daycare. And the last thing to consider is that we are working from our home and we also live in our home. We care for our children in our home. So it can feel like you're stuck in the house a lot of the time. So if you're somebody who isn't really a homebody and you rather get out and go to work, this may not be a long-term career for you. But if you're comfortable working from home and you don't mind spending the majority of your day and your week from home, this is going to be a really great career for you to use your creativity and teach and serve so many children and families in your town who are looking for quality care. I hope that you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and I would love for you to subscribe here if you're new. As always, I hope that you all have a blessed day and a blessed week, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.